Within the new patch, there are a lot of lines that have sort of resurfaced and have just stayed meta overall. Things like Yone, things like Aphelios, even Bard has been perfectly fine. But there has been some level of technology, some new iterations that have been prevalent in the meta when it comes to rerolling. And today, we're going to watch a pretty interesting twist on the Janna Reroll line, played by none other than everybody's favorite TFT influencer, or was he an influencer? I don't think he was, but none other than K3 Soju, who you can see on the bottom right, who, you know what, I'll turn off the Spotify thing just for this time, just so we can see Soju play. And also his face cam, because I think there's some funny moments in this game. But anyways, going into the game, and Soju, I believe at the time of recording this, he was around GM 300 LP. But I think he's already back in Challenger, so shout out to you, bro. Well done. Looks like we're giving loot subscription, gold opener, and vendor sentinels. If you are this motherfucker who sits on vendor sentinels, I hate you. Like, it is the worst fucking portal. If you're telling me you enjoy loading in and just losing on 1-1, like, oh, congratulations, you rolled a fucking gem and you rolled like a Zeke's. Oh, congratulations, you fucking lost. Well done, kid, well done. Like, dude, like, please, man, and then there's some guy who loads in with double locket. Like, anyways, my rant is over. But that portal fucking sucked. Okay, fuck you if you sit on that. Not actually, but no, you know what? Yeah, actually, go fuck yourself. Anyways, going back into the game here. It looks like we have let's see. It looks like Cho'Gath. So it looks like he's thinking about Kog'Maw reroll from his spot already, which seems perfectly reasonable. He actually has a lot of the units here. Darius pair as well. But it looks like we are going into our 2-out augments here. You gotta drop the Janna here. And our components wise, Rod, Tier, and Sword. So keep that in mind. It's actually really important. Sage Crest, Shock Treatment, and Raid Boss. It's definitely not Raid Boss at 2-1. It is if you have the Yorick augment specifically. But I mean, if you could guarantee that at 3-2, yeah, maybe you can pick this up. But otherwise, I would not take it at 2-1. It makes no sense, despite the fact that we do have upgraded behemoths. Shock Treatment is also a really solid... Ooh, face reveal. Shock Treatment is also a really good augment for tempo with in general when it comes to AP. So I can see that being a pretty decent choice in this spot. But Soju makes a very interesting decision here. Out of all of these choices here, he rerolls Raid Boss, which is not that interesting. I mean, I would have done the fucking same. He's actually asking chat, is it good? And then somebody said, yes, it totally is. And then he said, fuck you. And then he rerolled it, if I remember correctly. So he rerolled both of those. He got Jewel Lotus and Portable Forge. And let's just talk about this real quick. I think most people in this spot would actually take Portable Forge. Portable Forge in general is really solid. And I think most people would just reroll left side and see what they hit. But Portable Forge is solid. There's no reason not to take it. It's perfectly fine. Early game, it can be an Econ augment with Gamblers or maybe Moguls. Moguls isn't as good, but it's fine. Or Diamond Hands is super solid. Like, you have a lot of good things you can hit with Portable. But he actually does something really interesting here. He hovers over the reroll button on the Sage Crest. I think he picks Sage Crest. He picks Sage Crest because it gives a Diana here. And he has a Janna. So he levels for this 2 Behemoth, 2 Sage, and slams a Shojin. Which is already weird. Like, this is not something most players would do. Like, which is already really interesting to see that Soju was actually like, hey, you know what, maybe I can play this line from the spot. And Sage Crest from 2-1 is really, really interesting. Just to give you guys an idea, I'll put this on 2x speed while I look up the stats on the side. But I'm pretty sure the stats on Sage Crest are actually pretty fucking bad. It is, yeah, it is, okay, hold on, just to give you an idea. It's a 5.13. He looked at his spot and he went Sage Crest. So that should give you an idea that, like, hey, like, if there's a reason I'm showing you this game, and there's a reason I told you play this line from this spot, yeah, just let me know. But anyways, this is a very, very interesting spot to be in. So I remember seeing him take Sage Crest to it and thinking like, I should probably record this game. Because this was a really interesting game to watch him play. But he's thinking about Janna Reroll. And specifically when I talk about Janna Reroll, he's talking about Janna, Zyra, Diana being the core. And this is like a Dragon Lord Sage core. The idea being is that you can just kind of like fit these units in together kind of nicely because of Diana being Dragon Lord and Sage. And you can just like play anything within those lines. But the fort is actually pretty beautiful on 7. You just get to play the Janna, the Zyra, Diana, Riven, Soraka. I believe Zoe fits on the board as well, and I think Nico as well. And you get Altruist, Heavenly. It's basically like the Bard reroll line. The only difference is that you are playing Zyra, and yeah, you're playing Zyra instead of Sivir, and you're playing Janna instead of Bard. It's basically, other than that though, everything else fits really nicely. So it's kind of interesting to see like this new variation popping up. I don't remember if this is how people were playing Janna originally, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't. There was like a different way people were playing Janna Reroll beforehand. I've actually completely forgotten the previous line, but I guess this is what is probably the main line now. I think someone in the chat had also mentioned that this is like China loves this build, but then Soju was like, every time I see China liking a build, I don't think I like it. And then he goes into his explanation. It wasn't racism, by the way. His reasoning was like his reasoning was like half the time he feels like the Chinese boards are not very good. Like for example, the Ghostly Kindred board was like kind of bait. If you ask me, I think it was a noob trigger board, but totally fine. But anyways, looks like we are level 5 here. And by the way, we are 3 streaking. And here's the thing about Janna I want to talk about real quick. When it comes to Janna reroll, Janna is one of those units that like you need a tempo with. Like you can't just lose streak and then pivot into Janna and expect everything to be okay. It's like no, if you have a good spot for it, then you should try to consider playing it. And I think Soju thought my spot is good enough. I don't think it was a good spot, but I think he thought it was good enough that he thought he could tempo with it. And sure enough, he's correct. He's already on a 4 streak and doing pretty solid, and he actually already has the Janna 2. So he's actually sitting in a pretty good spot. You could argue it's a bit high roll that he found the Janna 2 so fast, but regardless, I mean, you know, people are going to high roll a little bit here and there, right? You got to take your wins, and when you see your losses, got to know how to play around them, just as he's doing right now. So already sitting here level 5, we have the Nico, we have the Diana here. Our board, like, it's not the strongest, but in terms of like just unit quality, everything is upgraded. So it's honestly pretty solid. And like everybody can use the AP pretty well on this board as well, coming from Sage, either the AP or the Omnivamp. Maybe you can make an argument to put Diana in the 3rd row for that little bit of extra AP, but I don't know if that's actually optimal. Maybe she just likes the Omnivamp a little bit better. But regardless, 5 streaking into Krugs, so already looking super solid. So 5 streaking on a win streak. We are at 40 gold, by the way. We're actually so fucking rich. And again, this is kind of a common trend that you might see with a lot of streamers and a lot of high elo players, is that like when you're in a good spot, your good spot is usually 30 gold on level 5 playing standard. That is just like somehow a common reoccurrence, but nonetheless, it's a really good indicator that, hey, this is probably going to be a really good game for you. Looks like here we are going into 3-1. You can make the argument to level here as well to preserve streak. I know I would. But leveling to 6 here, especially because Galu Baby, who's in our pool, actually leveled to 6 as well. And Lord Baze, who's also in our pool, leveled to 6 as well. So the fact that Soju has not leveled here is a little bit concerning. I actually don't know why he didn't level. But maybe he thinks his board is so strong that he wins no matter what. But he does it with the TG here, which is super great. Throws it onto the Diana here, which is fine. Diana will eventually become our main tank. So whenever we do want to pop off this TG, we want to make sure that we're selling the Cho'Gath and the Behemoths as well. So this is actually a pretty interesting play. I actually like it a lot. Just slamming TG now for tempo and then popping off later for a different stage unit, or maybe even something like later down the line Dragon Lord, something like Rakan maybe. But yeah, nonetheless, roll less travel, Dragon Spirit, and enter the Dragon. Funny enough, Soju actually does a really interesting play here as well. So the road less traveled is sort of the big thing that people probably think about when they're thinking about a line like this. The idea being is that you're playing reroll, but you still get to like get free money into your XP bar, and you get a level naturally, which sounds really great for a board that likes to fit on 7, but you're rerolling for a 2 cost, which traditionally you're rerolling on 6. So road less travel does sound pretty solid here, but let's keep in mind, Dragon Spirit can also be pretty good as well, but we don't have like a Diana 2. We have a Diana 1. With Diana 2, sure, maybe. But I think these are all perfectly fine, but Enter the Dragon sounds really solid here. Enter the Dragon, by the way, has pretty solid stats, specifically at 3-2. If you don't know, excuse me, currently it's sitting at a 4.37 on 3-2. So if you know you're already leaning towards this line, Enter the Dragon can be super solid, and I think this might be one of the main catalysts to making this comp from like decent to pretty fucking strong. So he goes with Enter the Dragon here because the 20% bonus true damage is pretty fucking lit, but also because it gives us a Diana and a Janna. So we're sitting on Diana pair here, which is super solid, and it looks like we're gonna dip a little bit here to see what we can find. We find another Janna as well, another Nico. We're sitting on a bunch of pairs here, so digging underneath 50 just to see if we can hit any of these pairs is super great. We get the Zyra as well, we should throw onto our board for sure, and we also have the Zoe as well. We don't want to dip anything lower than this, to be honest, though. We are going to roll at 6 for a little bit. And in terms of the main line, or in terms of the way to like mainly play this line, is you normally roll on 6 until you hit most of the Jannas, if not the Janna 3, and then you just push to 7 and then roll there for like the Diana, and you roll for the Zyra, and you roll for the Soraka, and whatever. But the idea being is that like you don't really want to roll on 7 for the Janna, because the problem is that if you roll on 7, the odds are just a little too low and it gets hard to hit everything. So you want to hit most of the Jannas, if not all of them, on 6 and then push 7. It really depends on the way that your game is going. Also, somebody had asked, why is he reviewing a Masters player, but Soju has a Challenger? Also, Soldier's not even a bad player, man. Like, he has good games too, dude. Like, a broken clock is right twice, you know? It's fine. Anyways, not to say he's a broken clock. He's a good. He's better than me. Like, by a mile. It's not even close. Like, you gotta watch people who are better than you, and like, you know, it's not gonna be dish up set square every single game. Like, come on. And this is a good game. This is a good game to watch. Anyways, looking at our board here, we are still level 6 here. 3 Sage. I think he's trying to justify like whether or not this Nico belongs on the board with the Heavenly. And you can maybe make the argument that the Janna 2 is better than this Nico 1. We do lose the Heavenly bonus, but like it's close. It's close for sure. I actually don't know what's better, to be honest. I can't sit here objectively being like, oh yeah, the second Janna 2 is better. But maybe with Enter the Dragon, Janna 2 is better. I think it's close. I think it's definitely close. But anyways, right here, he has Shojin and Ron. In terms of our itemizations, by the way, we're probably going to be thinking about things like Archangels, things like Ginsus. In general, with Janna, you want to be itemizing Shojin, Ginsu, Archangels, or Ginsu, Ginsu, Archangels. I think both are basically the same. There's no real right or wrong answer when it comes to either build, if one is better than the other. I think the other day, somebody had messaged me saying, hey, Shojin's actually better than Ginsu's. But, I mean, I think both are fine. It looks like here, by the way, we are given a bunch of spats as an option as well. I don't know if the spats are necessarily good in this comp, maybe for Heavenly, but that seems like kind of unnecessary. Things like the bow, the tear, or maybe another rod for the second Ginsus or for the Archangels sounds perfectly fine as well. I think Rabadons is also a consideration as well instead of going for Archangels, but you want that Ginsus anyways. So I don't really see a reason to slam Rabadons here. We're on a 1 streak, it's not like we're protecting a streak by any means. So I'm pretty sure this motherfucker, look up the stats on stream. This fucking guy. Like, you can't even see his board. Like, what is he doing? Alright, let's look at the stats for Ginsu's. It looks like Rabadons is really good stats, but you also need, like, multiple rods. So I don't think that is the right play. I'm pretty sure his item economy is a lot worse if he goes for Rabadons here. So, yep, I agree with not slamming Rabadons. But anyways, keep going into the game here. And again, we're rolling on 60 to try to find the Jannas and try to find the Dianas as well. We should be slow rolling on 6 here though, if you ask me. I'm kind of surprised to see that he's just sort of like sitting with his money up. There it is. I was surprised to see that he was rolling with money in the bank, but he had one more Janna, and this is probably enough to go 7 with. I actually don't think rolling here a little deeper for like one more Janna is bad by any means, but I think for Soju, I think he's thinking this is probably enough. I'm gonna stay on 7 for a while, so he's probably just gonna level and just start rolling. I think it also makes a lot of sense now that I'm thinking about it, because we have 2 Dianas, but we're 7 Jannas, and the odds of us not hitting this like Janna 3 when we're like 7 Dianas off, right? Like I'm sure it's fine. Looks like we get Kaelin as well. It's always blue Kael, makes a lot of sense. Bust AP for both Azara and for our Zoe. Level 7 here with 40 gold in the tank. We have the TG on bench, which is really good because that way, when we find the Diana 2, we don't get griefed and we have TG on our Diana. Looks like we get Heaven 2. We get a fucking Rakan. We're holding a little bit of 3 costs as well because we have a lot of 3 costs to be like juggling around. So, gets the better odds for us. And we're sitting on Diana 2, Nico, Soraka 2, Zoe 2, Zyra 2. A lot of good shit. But it looks like he's gonna Ginsu's the Janna here, which I really like. He gets the Spark on the Diana, which is super solid. I think nowadays we're seeing a lot of Spark on main tanks. You Spark Cho'Gath and Cho'Gath reroll as well. So I actually like this a lot. I think Spark is great. And then we have a Rakan on bench, but I'm sure we can find a way to fit it in somehow. But anyways, going into our 4-2 augments here, Heavenly Crest, Bulk, and Arcanist Crest. Heavenly Crest out of an augment makes a lot of sense. Before, when we were gonna utilize a component for it, I didn't really, or was that this game or last game? I don't remember. But Heavenly Crest, no, that was last game. My bad. Heavenly Crest makes a decent amount of sense. Heavenly Crest basically gives Omnivamp for the whole team, plus the Omnivamp you get from Sage, so it's a lot of Omnivamp for the whole team. It actually seems kind of decent here. Arcanist Crest doesn't make too much sense, just because we would be playing 3 Arcanists. I can't see how that works. Bulk can make a lot of sense. We do have TG, we do have Diana, and the Janna itemized as well. So there's actually a decent amount, and Sage Crest. I can actually see Bulk a very good choice here. And actually, I feel like if it was me in this spot, I'd actually go with Bulk Crest instead. Or Bulk instead of the Heavenly Crest. But I think it's close. I think it's close. Gifts is gifts? Really? Gifts is gifts? Does he take Heavenly? But gifts is... okay. That's interesting. So he ends up going for the Heavenly spot instead, which I don't know if I fully agree with. You get the Omnivamp that you need already in your frontliners, and it's not like this Heavenly Crest really does much for our backline. They get Omnivamp, but it's not that much. It's about, I believe it's 6%. I think the base is 6, right? And he has 2 heavenly in, so he gets 100%, so 6, right? Not a lot. I do think bulk is better here. The effective HP is probably much, much higher because you'd have 40 units getting bulk value with 1200 extra HP on the board. So that definitely sounds better to me. But anyways, it looks like we are rolling on 7 and slow rolling and just trying to look for the Diana 3. And also the Janna 3. We're still sitting on Janna 2. But as you can see here, it's on a 3 streak. So his board is actually still winning a lot of fights. And again, it should be. He's sitting on a lot of 2-star upgraded units, so his board is not weak by any means. He's actually streaking very, very comfortably, like 5-0, 6-0, 7-0, all of these fights for stage 4. And that's a very good sign for a reroll comp, especially because usually when it comes to a reroll board, you want to be playing boards that are decently stable with the 2-star cost of all the units before hitting your main hitters, your 3-star carries or your 3-star tanks. So seeing that this board is really stable on 7 with like 2-star everything, really solid and really says a lot as to like the potential strength of this board. But looks like, again, still slow rolling. There isn't too much to talk about. But again, it's very possible that without Enter the Dragon, this comp might be worse. But I think it's still interesting to see that despite that he took an augment that averages a fucking 5.2 at 2-1, he still is sitting at a very, very decent and good spot. It looks like we're playing into Stars Are Born with a Bruiser Crest, with Galley Babies playing with little buddies. This is like a really interesting spot to be in. I don't know how I feel about it, but he's playing like a Silas carry with like infinite HP on his board. I think he's playing 8 Bruisers, so that's actually a really cool board to be playing into. But again, slow rolling a little more. Little buddies, by the way, as well. The fact that he hit that on that Bruiser board, like holy fuck, like his board's insane. But looks like we're going to dig a little deeper here because we do want to find like a little more tempo. We did find a Hui as well, which is a little interesting. Hui is good because Hui can actually be our duplicator. So if we are really struggling to find these last units, we can just tech in Hui for 2 turns and try to duplicate the Janna, or maybe 3 turns and try to duplicate the Diana. I think both are totally reasonable. But it looks like we're going to be going into neutrals now. We did win, so we won 4 out of 5 fights in stage 4, so still very solid. Find the Riven 2, we rolled over the Straka because we're not going for Straka 3 this game. We're still too far from Janna and from Diana. But in terms of tempo, we're still relatively there. The tempo for this board is usually 3 stars on 5-1. So Janna 3 and Diana 3 on 5-1. And again, we're very, very close to both of those. And it looks like we are 1 off Janna 3. And it looks like he sells the Hui. He says, fuck the Hui. 1 off Diana 3, 1 off Janna 3. And it looks like we should be rolling a little more here. Check the hello? Hello? Wait, are we not gonna roll here? Wow. So he actually levels to 8 instead because he's like, nah, fuck it, I'll hit on 8. Which I find is kind of greedy. I think, like I know you're 1 off and the odds go from 40 to 32. It's not like the odds are so bad and your most likely, you know, cost of unit to hit is gonna be a 3 cost, but I don't know. Like, 4 Dragon Lord is strong. Don't get me wrong. 4 Dragon Lord is strong. But, like, leveling here when you're still, like, 1 off and you still have money before, like, breaking threshold of 50. I don't know. I feel like Diana 3 is a bigger spike, rather, excuse me, than the Dragon Lord strike. Yeah. But, I don't know. I mean, it looks fine. I don't know if I agree with that play. But I could definitely see it being reasonable. But anyways, still very, very solid. It looks like we are going to be getting this Irelia onto our board as well over the Zoe, which I really like. He's actually dropping the Arcanist. He drops the Nico as well, so he can play the 4 Dragon Lord instead. So this board is like super solid. I actually really like this a lot. And I actually think it's, you know what? The fact that he hit the Irelia and he's playing the Irelia now, I can see it. I think, you know what? He's right. But anyways, going into the game here, it looks like our Diana is actually getting fucking melted. Again, we're playing into Galu Baby with this ridiculous Bruiser board. But by the way, look at the lobby HP. Galu, who we're playing into, and like Soju are like fucking like 80-90 HP. And then outside of that, all right, normally I don't do this, but I'm in post right now rewatching this VOD, and look at this goofy goober, bro. Just look at him. He looks like a fucking main character out of Looney Tunes. Look at him. Like, it looks like he got hit in the back of the head with a wooden plank and it's going doing. What is that? Why is he looking like I know there's a Dragon Lord emblem on the carousel, but damn. Anyways, I just wanted to point that out. Urk is on a win streak with 14, and this Pepega guy, I don't fucking know, 10 HP. Like, we're already top 4, it's 5-4. Like, this is a very high tempo lobby. And the fact that it's succeeding in such a high tempo lobby is pretty interesting to see. But it looks like here, we're still 1 off of the Diana, so I'm interested to see what exactly is gonna go down here. I'm surprised he's not rolling on 8. He's just gonna go 9. He says, fuck it, I'll hit. Which is very optimistic. I've definitely seen players miss, especially on 9 odds, because the 9 odds for 3 costs, I believe, go down to 25. It might be 20, but I think it's 25%. So it's gonna be significantly harder to hit. So I don't know how I feel about this. I feel like maybe he thinks he has enough HP to bleed out. But we're about to find out. Finds another Hui again, so maybe he can level for Hui and then just start cooking up with Diana. That's reasonable as well. I'm also kind of surprised he's holding all these other units as well, like the fucking Kindred and the Kate or whatever. I don't think it does anything for us. But like if you leveled here to put in the Hui to just guarantee that you get Diana and you can go 9, I could see it. Obviously, you'd want to set 1 more because neutrals is coming up, and you're losing a lot of money just to get an extra turn early on the Hui painting. But I don't know. It's tough to say. It looks like we are losing. Oh no, we won! Oh nice! So we won again. Oh, holy fuck! This Annie's a demon. Look at this thing. My god. But 24k. Oh, did you see that by the way? Janna did 24,000 fucking damage. My god. But I mean, it makes sense. He has so much HP on the board, right? Like if we're gonna clear his board, we need to do a lot of fucking damage. But Archangels helps alleviate that for obvious reasons. Anyways, looks like we're 97 gold. I guess we're just gonna push 10 or push 9 and pray for the best. Nothing here is that great by any means. It might probably just be IE on Aurelia. That is the only thing that really stands out to me. Don't want Bramble, don't want Rabadons. Yeah, so I'm down for this. He doesn't like he should have leveled this turn. He should have leveled this turn and started painting the Diana if he wasn't gonna if he was just gonna sit. But it looks like I think his rationale is he wants to hit the Aurelia 2 and the Wukong 2 on 9. So he's gonna actually save up as much as he can before his roll down. Bleed just enough and then just start rolling here. And it looks like we have the Aurelia 2 really fast, which is great. A random Udyr seems perfectly reasonable as well. But we're probably rolling trying to hit the we hit Lee Sin 2. We hit a random Wukong, that's fine. Rakan pair. Nothing that great. We're holding Silas and Annie as well. I think the reasoning was because I think this Galu baby guy was trying to hit Annie 3 and Silas 3, so he's holding that, which is super prudent. But we're still not Diana 3. So, but we still win. So, interesting. So, we're level 9. Diana 2 is basically like our front line, but it seems to be enough. We're still Rakan 1. We're still, you know, fucking Diana 1 or Diana 2. Diana 3, there it is. Very good. But we're still waiting for Rakan 2. We're waiting for Wukong 2, which are very large spikes. We got a TG on the Dragon Lord Lee Sin, which is like questionable. Like, is this really better than Rakan? Like, Lee Sin 2? Like, it's kind of a shitter, isn't it? I don't know. I feel like if it were me, I think I actually value a Rakan 1 more than a Lee Sin 2. But that's just my take. But it looks like we're starting to slowly whittle down Galu, who has like 1,000 HP. It looks like we're getting another TG for possibly Wukong here. Deathblade also makes a lot of sense though, because I think Deathblade is great for Aurelia, but I think the idea is basically if we hit the Wukong 2 and we hit the Rakan 2, then our highest cap would be the TG on the Wukong instead of just having a naked Wukong. So I can see the rationale, but we are 29 HP. We don't have a lot of econ to work with. We're definitely making it to neutrals though, so we'll have a lot to roll. So I think he's just saying, fuck it, I'm gonna play for highest cap and go for the TG on Wukong, which understandable. I can see it. Not sure if I fully agree, but I can see it. But anyways, it looks like here we are winning again. And actually, we're winning by a landslide. It's not even close. So we are slowly whittling down the fucking Titan that is Galu baby. But he did hit the Aurelia 2 here. And I think he's going to slowly start taking out the bruisers and start like playing like a really solid board. He's going to just start playing all the legendaries. He is level 10. He's sitting on 20 gold. He can bleed another one, go into neutrals, roll 50, and then just play like a bunch of really strong units. But looks like we are Aurelia 2 here with a bunch of, and again, we're little buddies actually. So playing a bruiser actually makes a lot of sense. So actually, I wouldn't be surprised if he just stays on this for the rest of the game. I can't really tell you why this fight is so much worse than the previous ones. Maybe it's because of Aurelia 2, but we're starting to lose now, which is a little alarming. It looks like Galu actually hits the Rakan 2 as well, but we can see on the right hand side. So now he's Rakan 2, Aurelia 2, and we are Aurelia 1, and I believe we are Aurelia 2, but Wukong 1 and Rakan 1, which is pretty fucking bad for us. But looks like we are gonna pop the anvil and just donkey try to hit these upgrades. Didn't hit shit. I can see him mouthing the words hello. But it looks like we're gonna pop an anvil. Maybe something for the Aurelia here. Probably red buff. Makes a lot of sense. We don't have a consistent source of anti-heal. So I can totally see this being the case. And looks really solid. We could have had a death blade Aurelia as well, but again, we were playing for highest cap, so I can see why he again opted for the TG back at 5-4. But Spot is looking solid. We win another, which is great because I guess the anti-heal is super great because we are playing into bruisers and they probably have a redemption somewhere. So the anti-heal is super appreciated. But it looks like we are still missing on the Wukong, or we're still missing on the fucking Rakan. Like, nah, like this is ridiculous. Kamag's asked, do you not get Morgana in for 5 stage until 10? And the answer is yes. 5 stage is kind of fake, to be honest. Another thing too is that, like, who do you drop, right? Like, there's nobody we can really drop here. Oh, and it's a second, and you can see this bro's molding. But anyways, that's gonna do it for this one. I hope it was interesting. I hope you learned a lot from this line. I thought this line was super interesting. I really wanted to share with you guys. But hope you guys learned something. Take care, guys, and happy climbing. Okay. Holy fuck, dude, my voice is tired.